Process costing. This is your fourth unit. Process costing is a continuous and sequential process. In certain production industries, there will be many processes in manufacturing. The first process will be the output of the first process will be the raw material for the second process, and the output of the second process will be the raw material for the third process. The number of processes in an industry depends on the finished goods. Let us take an example for a shirt manufacturing industry. If you're going to stitch a shirt from a tailor, he will do everything himself. The button, the stitching, the packing, everything will be done by him. Whereas in a big industry, the process one, they will be manufacturing the buttons. So the raw material which is needed for making the buttons will be the expenses, and the labor who is making the buttons or direct labor. And the output of the first process will be shifted to the second process. In the second process, they will be stitching the shirt. And the output of the second process is a stitched shirt. This will be transferred to process 3, where they will make the process of packing. Finally, they will deliver the finished goods. So the cost of process 1 will be shifted to process 2 with the output. The cost of process 1 and process 2 will be shifted with the output to the process 3. So the total cost will be the cost of finished goods. In process costing, we have losses and gains. Wastage, it doesn't have any value, so there is no accounting treatment for wastages. Scrap, it does have a value. The value will be adjusted with the cost of the output. But in accounting treatment, the wastage and scrap are treated the same way. Normal loss, the loss which occurs normally and which is not avoidable and uncontrollable. Abnormal loss, the loss more than the expected normal loss is called as abnormal loss. Abnormal gain, we have expected a normal loss, but unfortunately that loss doesn't occur. That is called as abnormal gain. For example, we look at this simple process accounts. A product passes through two processes. The following details of process A, you are required to ascertain the process cost to be transferred to process B. So here they have asked you to prepare process A account. In process A, you have expenses like direct material 12,000, direct wages 8,000, direct expenses 5,000, overheads 11,000. So the input of material is 1,000 units, and it is given that the output is also 1,000 units. Here there is no loss. So you will be preparing accounts like this. On the debit side, you will be debiting all the expenses. So the total expenses comes to 36,000. The number of unit which was input is 1,000. So the output is also 1,000 units, and the value of output is 36,000. This is transferred to process B accounts. 36,000 divided by 1,000 will get rupees 36. So cost of 1 unit is 36 rupees. Here we have another account in which they have asked to prepare process J and process K. So there are 4 expenses for process J as well as process K: material, labor, chargeable, expenses and overheads amounting to 17,000. This overheads is to be apportioned among process J and process K on the basis of labor. That is 60:25. process J accounts. You are debiting all the expenses of process J accounts. Overheads is apportioned on the basis of direct labor. On the credit side, you are transferring the output of process J account to process K account. That is 1,22,000. Process K accounts. On the debit side, you are having the transfer which you got from process J account, 1,22,000, and all those expenses meant for process K. And finally, it is transferred to finished stock account, 1,77,000. Here, since units is not given, we have not calculated the units. Here, another simple process accounts in which there is no losses. Here we have three processes: process X, process Y, and process Z. So the number of units finished is 5,000 units. So we assume that input is also 5,000 units. There is no process loss. The expenses are material, direct wages, and direct expenses. And indirect expenses, it amounts to 30,000, and it is based on direct wages. Process Y account, worthing 75,000. 75,000 divided by 5,000 will get 15 rupees per unit. Process Y accounts, the transfer from process X is debited, and all the expenses of process Y is debited. The balance which you get from process Y account is transferred to process Z account. 1,18,000 divided by 5,000, you will get 23 rupees 60 paise. Next is process Z account. On the debit side, you have the debit which you have got from process Y account and all other expenses related to process Z account. And the output is 1,50,500, which is divided by 5,000 unit, you will get 30 rupees 10 paise. And this will be transferred to finished stock account. So far we have seen three problems in which we had no losses. In the next part, we will be seeing process accounts with normal loss and abnormal losses.